everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 207. If you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, thanks so much for checking out this podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and doing all those crafty, makery things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from and I live. And as always, I'm really happy that you are taking some time out of your day to chat about all those things with me. So yes, it's been a week since I last recorded, even though it feels like a couple of eons. I was hoping to get an episode in last week, but if you followed me on the last episode, I had gone up to Cape Cod with Dennis for Labor Day weekend and came back. I just had a lot of work to catch up with, and podcasting once again was not in the cards, but I'm back this week and I have lots of whips and projects to share with you and just lots to talk about. So let's get right to it. But before I do, I just want to say I hope everyone in the States had a very happy Labor Day weekend and just had a really lovely time off. If you got to take some time off or have time off before you have to go back to work. But anyway, that made absolutely no sense. But anyway, I just hope everyone had a nice end to their summer and just did something fun to cap it off. And it's definitely, autumn is definitely in the air. I have the windows open right now and it's much cooler than it has been in the past couple of weeks or months. So very, very excited about that. Looking forward to cooler weather. Even though it's not necessarily fall yet, it definitely feels like it's nigh, it's coming. So yay, sweater weather. So yes, what do I have to talk about? Yeah, before I get into what I've been making this week, I just want to give you a heads up about some ongoing knit-alongs that we have going on, which you can join in by joining the YarnGasm Ravelry group, which if you have not joined yet, as I say every week, you should totally join. It's the way to chat about every episode, get in touch with me, and you know, just join in on all the knit-alongs that we're having, and how you can participate to enter to win some of the prizes or giveaways that we have going on for said knit-alongs and make-alongs, because it's not just knitting. It's sometimes we do knit-alongs that are knitting, sewing, crochet, what have you. Anyway, let me just give a quick recap of them. I'll just run down the list because it's a lot of information, but if you want more info about these knit-alongs, just head on over to the YarnGasm Ravelry group, and there are specific threads for these knit-alongs. But yes, we have the Box O' Socks knit-along, which is going on it's a year-long knit-along, and it ends on January 1st, 2017. And then we also have the Exploration Station knit-along that I'm co-hosting with Lara from the Dyer's Notebook podcast. And then we also have the Unicorn knit-along, which I'm co-hosting with Magdalena from the Voolenvine podcast. And I'm co-hosting a lot of knit-alongs, it feels like, this month. But one last knit-along that or make-along, I should say. Or yeah, it's a make-along that I'm co-hosting with Benjamin Crudwig from the Design Time podcast, and it's a Victorian make-along, so and pretty much just you can knit, you can crochet, you can sew, anything of or pertaining to Victorian times. And I will be making a corset, and Benjamin will be making a vest, and it's just going to be epic. And I just want to say that Unicorn Cowl thread is amazing. I know I'm a little behind. I mean, I do dip in there and check out what you all have been making, and it's just blowing my mind and just makes me so happy to be in that thread and just see what you're all making. And I feel bad because I have not been very active in the thread, like commenting. I have not had the time to just sit down and comment, but I am seeing what you're making, and you guys just keep going. It's amazing. So it's magical. That's pretty much what it is. It's a magical thread, and you should totally check it out. Even if you're not participating in the knit-along or make-along, just dip into that unicorn. If you're having a bad day, just dip into that thread and your day will just be magical. And knit-alongs and make-alongs would not be complete without giveaway prizes. Now I will be giving away prizes of my own hand-dyed yarn, but I do have a couple of other really awesome giveaway prizes sent to me from other wonderful makers, and I am so happy to share them with you today because they came in the mail and they're exciting. So Denise, and you're gonna hear a lot of crinkling, and I'm sorry, not sorry about this, because crinkling just makes me happy. It gets me excited. It's like, oh, mail, new shiny thingies. And yeah, crinkling is the sound of happiness and stash enhancement. Anyway, So Denise from the Yarn Geek podcast, she has recently started dyeing yarn, and she has generously sent me 2 skeins of yarn, one for me and one for you lovely viewers. And this will be one of the giveaway prizes for one of the make-alongs. I haven't decided how I'm going to be divvying this up, but it will be a prize for one of the giveaways. So Denise, thank you so much for sending me these gorgeous skeins. And here's her card. Her yarn label is called Yoshi and Lucy. How cute is this business card, you guys? I am in love. And I think this is Lucy, one of her cats, and obviously these are her cats. But this is Yoshi and this is Lucy. I'm gonna guess. But yeah, Denise is awesome. I actually met Denise at Gauge Intention. We had, not for one of my trunk shows, but I think it was for the Plucky Knitter trunk show that Gauge Intention, when they were still open, that they had, and we all just got together and I met Denise, and she's so wonderful. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be her friend, and yeah, I'm very excited that she started dyeing yarn. But she sent this one. It's on her Isabel base, and this is her, let me see. There you go. That is really, really pretty. I think this is her Utah colorway. Yeah, this is Utah. So let me see if I can get that to focus. So many like warm sunsetty colors in there. And then she also sent it also on her Isabel base is what is it, Violet's, I'm gonna totally butcher this, Violet Beauregard. And I love this colorway so much. It is so like shockingly purple and blue, and there's subtle speckles in there too. It'd be really interesting to see how this knits up. I haven't decided which one I want to keep yet because they're all so pretty. But anyway, one of these will be a giveaway prize for one of our make-alongs. Maybe the Exploration Station knit-along. We'll see. But yeah. Denise, thank you so much again for sending these along. So this was really exciting to get in the mail. But also, Laura from, sorry, I'm crinkling, making lots of noise. Laura from the Fawn Knits podcast also sent one of you lovely viewers a wonderful prize in lieu of our unicorn knit along. She has dyed a colorway called, of course, Unicorn. She was inspired by the knit along to dye a colorway called Unicorn, and she has generously sent both, as I mentioned, me and one of you viewers a skein of it. And I think the camera is doing it justice. It is just so unicorny and magical and sparkly and speckly, and Laura, you outdid yourself. But yeah, it's on her Magpie base, which has, I think, gold stellina, and it's 400 meters, 438 yards, and it's just awesome. I am itching to cast this on soonly. I might as well, because, you know, I'm partaking in the unicorn knit along. So, you know I'm working on my unicorn stuffy, but why not have a pair of socks on the go as well? And so she also, as I mentioned, she sent another skein along for one of you lovely viewers. So yay, thank you so much, Laura. This was really awesome to get in the mail, and very, very excited to be giving one of these skeins away to one of you viewers. So yay. Okay, and I think that is it. No, there was some more mail. There's some more mail. I know this is dragging on, but this will lead into what I've been working on. So Erin, who is Raven Knitter on Ravelry, she's a viewer as well, and she contacted me and she goes, I found something that totally reminded me of you and I would love to send it to you as a gift. Totally unexpected, totally unnecessary, but again, I was like, thank you so much for thinking of me, sure, send it along. And this was just so amazing to get in the mail, Erin. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I just did a little happy dance when I opened up the package. But she totally has my number, and I've seen this fabric everywhere, and I've been meaning to get my hands on it, and it just never happened, but which is crazy because when you see this, you're gonna be like, yeah, why haven't you purchased like yards and yards and yards of this fabric yet? But the Gashleys, yeah. It's a project bag with the Gashleys, and if you're not familiar with the Gashleys, it's this really fun kind of macabre, kind of Victorian print. It kind of reminds me of Edward Gorey. If you're not familiar, he's one of my favorite illustrators. And this totally I would be very surprised if this was not inspired by his drawings, but it has, I apologize, I have the window open and it's gonna be loud because we're in Brooklyn, and I know I say this every week, but if you're a new viewer, welcome to Brooklyn, it's gonna be loud. So, but yeah, it has these really awesome kind of like macabre illustrations, like these two really, you know, what do you, Victorian angry ladies. Then on, someone's angry out there. And then these two children who look very, very morose and melancholy. But I love this bag so much, and it's so deep, which I also really like about it. And yeah, it's just a really well-made bag, and I wish I knew who made this bag. There's no logo on it or label or anything, so I don't know, it's just really well made. I don't know, Erin, did you make this? I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, if you did, you should put your label on it, because yeah, I like it when makers put their labels on things, and it just reminds me of who made it, you know, where I got it from. And anyway, but that was not all she sent. She also sent this really awesome skein from Ancient Art Yarns. And if you're not familiar with Ancient Art Yarns, they dye yarn inspired by cats. So, and a portion of their sales go to, a portion of the proceeds from this yarn will be donated to by Ancient Arts to charities benefiting stray and abandoned cats, which I think is amazing. And this one, you can see the cat that it was inspired by, and it kind of looks like Bella Boo's. Yeah, she has like the green eyes and everything, and this is so pretty. And the colorway is called Le Chat Noir, and I probably butchered that. My French is not very good, but Le Chat Noir, yes. I'm sorry, Isabel, you were probably like shaking your fist at me like, no, Kristen, that's not how you say it. In French, of course, but anyway. So anyway, this is very nice to get in the mail, and it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, fingering. And yeah, it's so soft, and it's like buttered kittens, yes. Huh. Anyway, so, but wait, that's not all. She also sent, again, totally unnecessary, but you know, Erin, wait, where is it? Hang on. Okay, so she also sent cream Earl Grey. This is from the teagirl.com. Cream Earl Grey tea, Ceylon black tea with bergamot, mellowed by creamy finish of natural vanilla flavor and decorated with cornflowers. And you guys, this smells so good. I just want to like put it in a sachet and make all my yarn smell like this, because it just smells so lovely. Like, I smell the vanilla undertones to it, and I don't know if you can look at that. Look at that. How beautiful is that? It's like you don't want to even drink it because it's just so pretty. But anyway, and yeah, of course she sent me one of these. It's a strainer. She thought of everything. But anyway, again, thank you so much, Erin. This was really wonderful to get in the mail, and it just totally made my day. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. I cannot say thank you enough. But yeah, but it was just a really nice treat to get in the mail. But since we're, you know, talking about this bag, living inside of my Gashley's bag is my Recoleta sweater, which is my Rhinebeck sweater that I'm knitting for Rhinebeck, and I am making progress on it. Granted, I wish it was moving along a little more quickly, but I'm making progress on it, which is the important thing. And I finished knitting the sleeves, or I've separated the sleeves. I posted about it on Instagram, which, by the way, if you want to follow me on social media, Instagram is the way to go. I am at Voolenvine on Instagram there. And I should also mention show notes. See, I forget to mention this at the top of every episode, but show notes for this episode and every other episode can be found at YarnGasmPodcast.com. So check that out if you have any questions or queries about, you know, information within the podcast, and I will try to post links and information there. But yes, anyway, I'm knitting the Recoleta sweater by Joji Locatelli, and it looks like a baby sweater right now because of the sleeves and it just has like a back, but no, this is the neckband. So this will be kind of going around my neck and then the sleeves, and then this will continue around as the band or the collar band, if you will. I'm not really sure what it's called, but that band just continues down the front of the cardigan, and then the back has the same lace motif just going down the back. So I don't know if you can make sense of this, but let me see. Neckband, and then let me see, the back, and then here are the sleeves. And amazingly, I don't know where I found these, but they were in my stash in my little notions tin. I had 2 of them. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And I just used these giant, what do you call it? Safety pins as sleeve stitch placeholders. So these are holding the sleeves. And the yarn I should talk about, right, is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns on my Smitten DK base, which is a merino nylon cashmere blend, 4-ply. Super soft, again, buttered kittens, which I say buttered kittens a lot whenever I describe yarn, and if you're curious about where I got that from, I totally usurped it from, it was an episode, a joint episode between the Electric Sheep, Hoxton Handmade, which is no longer in production, but one of my favorite gateway drugs into knitting podcasts. I believe her episodes are on iTunes. If you would like to listen to them, I highly recommend them. They're hilarious, and I miss her podcast dearly. But she did a joint podcast with Kate from a Playful Day podcast. They got together and they did a joint podcast, and the way they described Malabrigo yarn was, it's like buttered kittens, and yeah, the term just stuck with me. And I thought that is a genius way of describing yarn. But yeah, anyway, this feels like buttered kittens to me, basically. And yeah, I will say, this is a very enjoyable pattern to knit. Granted, there is a bit of, the charts, there are 2 separate charts that you have to follow simultaneously. So right now I'm following the chart on my computer. So I sit in front of my computer and knit while I watch podcasts. So I have it open in like a PDF file, but then you can box on separate pages. You can create a little box and shift the boxes up and down as you please. And that's pretty much how I've been keeping track of what row I am on each respective chart. It's a little bit of a brain teaser, if you will, but as long as those boxes are where they need to be, I've been following it quite well. Yeah, so as long as you're paying it, you kind of have to pay attention. You do have to pay attention when you're knitting this, but it's that whole setup just makes it so much easier for me. So yeah, I am loving this project so much, and I'm really hoping, I really want to have this done for Rhinebeck, because it's sweater weather and it's gorgeous, and it has to be done for Rhinebeck. So yay, love it. And I'm still on the first skein. I dyed up 6 skeins for myself, and I don't think I'm gonna need all of them. I think maybe I will just need 4. I'm going to guess. I'm knitting the second size, so I think it's like the 34-inch bust. I don't know, we'll see. I think it's the 34, and the pattern does call for worsted weight, but as I mentioned in the previous episodes, I did swatch and I got gauge, and I'm just going with the fact, I'm keeping in mind that it is superwash, and when I block it, it's going to elongate. So I may not knit it as long as the pattern says to, knit it lengthwise, if that makes any sense. So, but we'll see. Anyway, loving this pattern, loving this project, loving the yarn, obviously. So yeah, that is one thing that has been on my needles. And let me put my tea and my yarn back in the project bag so I know where it is later. Yeah, so, and the other thing that I have been working on ever so monogamously is my exploration station, living in my awesome granny project bag, by the way. I love this project bag so much. Thank you so much, Awesome Granny, for sending this my way. It is huge. It's, yeah, Bags by Awesome Granny. She's on Etsy, and she just has the most, as the name suggests, awesome project bags. You should totally check her out. But this came with me on vacation to Cape Cod, and I got a lot of work on it. I did quite a lot of I made quite a lot of progress on it, I should say. But here it is. as you can tell, I am on the brioche section. And let's talk about brioche for a while, for a little bit. Granted, you know, if I think I mentioned on the last episode that this will be my first foray into knitting brioche. I've never knit brioche before. And, you know, looking at other projects, I'm like, how hard can it be? It's probably a piece of cake. I don't see why people take classes on this type of thing, but oh my God, you guys. It took me quite a while to wrap my brain around the whole process of knitting brioche. I did several swatches. I watched Mina's tutorial. Mina from the Knitting Expat, she's an excellent tutorial on knitting brioche. Granted, it's quite long, so, you know, but there's a lot of theory behind it, so a lot of information packed into one little tutorial. So I highly recommend giving that, you know, as like a, you know, like a precursor into, like, sit down with a vanilla sock and watch the tutorial all the way through, because it is technically its own podcast episode. It's 30 minutes long. So I watched Mina's, I watched Stephen West's tutorial on brioche, and then I found two others that I found very helpful. They were a little shorter. I think they were about like 6 to 10 minutes long each. I will post a link to them in the show notes, but I found those incredibly helpful. I actually had to draw like a little diagram or chart for myself to help me understand the way brioche works, and after several swatches of knitting brioche, I was able to kind of like read my knitting, see what the next stitch looked like or what it should look like, and, you know, basically wrap my brain around, pun totally intended, I guess, you know, how it actually works. So, you know, I'm still a little, not, I wouldn't say shaky about it, but I was confident enough to just dive right into the brioche section of the exploration station. And as you can see, yeah, I'm making progress on it. Granted, I have a dirty little secret. This is the right side of the project, but on the wrong side, I fudged up the brioche. But it's all on the wrong side, and I'm kind of toying with the idea of ripping it back, but the fact that it's on the wrong side doesn't bother me. It's like, okay, I can deal with it, but as long as it looks fine on the right side, it's fine, you know? But the one benefit of ripping all the way back and doing it over again is that I can go down a needle size, which the pattern does not say to do. But many people who have knit this patterns, as I learned from Lara from the Dyer's Notebook podcast, she had mentioned, you know, she wanted to know if I went down a needle size for, you know, the brioche section, and I said no, and she's like, oh, some people suggest to do that, and I can see why, because my, you know, my gauge is a little looser when I knit brioche, I guess, so I could see how the pattern could benefit from going down a needle size from this portion, from this section. But I don't, to be honest, I'm okay with it. I think I'm going to plug on, keep going, yeah, because honestly it just does not look wrong, or, you know, it looks fine on the right side, so I'm totally cool with that. We'll see. I'll still think about it a little bit, but yeah, otherwise this pattern, you guys, I'm having so much fun with it, and I love the way the colorways are playing together. This is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns on the Blitzed base, which has gold stellina. It's superwash. It's a 2-ply superwash merino nylon and 5% gold stellina. But I'm using Jilted Rose. I'm using Tega, the same colorway as my Recoleta cardigan, and then I have Black Pearl, and then I have Dirty on Purpose. But I'm so glad that I decided to use Jilted Rose as the contrast colorway, because it really pops, and I don't know, I love the way it's knitting up, so yay. And I'm really enjoying checking out the Ravelry group for the knit along. Just seeing all of your color choices and just seeing all of your exploration stations knitting up and everything. It's so exciting. And yeah, and feel free to double dip. Laura, again, from the Dyer's Notebook, is co-hosting this knit along with me. So feel free to double dip into her Ravelry group, and yeah, so loving this. And this bag is perfect for this project, you guys, because yeah, I'm dealing with like four separate colorways, and it holds a lot. So but yes. And the other thing, I did have something off the needles this past week, but I did not show it off on the podcast because it was a gift. I had knit my father-in-law a pair of socks using some yarn that he and my mother-in-law purchased for my birthday. Those socks have been since finished and gifted. He loves them. I'll see if I can post a photo of the finished object here because, you know, I mailed them. I was trying to get them done in Cape Cod. I brought them up to Cape Cod and I was like knitting away on them furiously. I actually posted a photo of it on Instagram, but it didn't happen. I didn't finish it. Instead, I finished it when I got home from the trip. But let me see, I have the yarn here. Let me see. But yeah, they purchased 2 skeins for me. So I used one and now I have 1 skein for myself to do as I please. So, but this is the colorway. It's by Haute Knit Yarns and it's called Finest Hours. And basically Haute Knit Yarns, they did a custom colorway for A Great Yarn, which is a really awesome local LYS, local yarn shop in Chatham, Cape Cod. And basically Finest Hours is a movie. It's a Disney movie. I think you can watch it on Netflix, but it takes place in Cape Cod, in Chatham. They have the lighthouse and everything, and basically, I guess, A Great Yarn approached Haute Knit Yarns to custom dye a colorway inspired by the movie, and this is that colorway. So just really like beautiful shades of blue and, you know, just variegated and speckles, and yeah. And it's on her simple sock base, superwash, 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. But if you go to the shop, they have this colorway dyed on a plethora of bases. They have chunky weight, they have, you name it, everything. So, but I really enjoyed working with the yarn, and definitely check out the movie. Dennis and I watched it the other night. We just stumbled upon it on Netflix, and we're like, hey, you know, it's like, we heard great things about the movie. I have the yarn, so let's give it a, you know, let's check it out. So, but yeah, it's with Chris Pine. It has Casey Affleck in it, and definitely a very action-packed and awesome. I think it's definitely safe for children to watch. It's Disney. So anyway, movie recommendation. But yay, I still have a skein for myself to work with. So that will go back in my stash. And what else? I have been working on my Grand Tangle blanket, which a viewer suggested the name, that I call it the Grand Tangle blanket, and I love that name. So it shall be dubbed the Grand Tangle blanket from this point on. And it's living in my project bag that I made for myself, selfishly. It has mermaids on it and my logo and everything, and on the back. I love this bag so much. But I've been giving my Grand Tangle blanket some love this week, just watching movies and, you know, just some downtime, but it's growing. It's growing quite a bit. And yeah, right now, let me see. I'm actually using a mauve, coincidentally, I'm currently using a mauve colored mini skein. So, but this, if you can see, like right here, let me see, this one block of color, these colorways right here, I love the way they just play together. This is kind of like a muted teal, then a bright teal, and then kind of like, this is hedgehog fibers right here in the urchin colorway, and then kind of like a dusty rose, and then a deep mauve. And I kind of want to, you know, just go on Knit Picks and pick up some of their worsted weight yarn in similar colorways and just knit a granny square blanket on its own. But I know that's kind of dangerous, so, but anyway, I might hop on there and see what they have in stock, and, you know, maybe just toy with the idea. But I'm definitely having a lot of fun working on it. And again, I've been using this crochet hook by Tulip, and yeah, it's size 4, and it just makes a world of difference. And Michelle Wong from, she has a podcast, I think it's just called the Michelle Wong Podcast, but she definitely recommended these, and I hopped on the bandwagon. I could not agree more that these Tulip crochet hooks, and I don't crochet as much, but they just make crocheting such a pleasure to do. So highly recommend them if you are in the market for some new crochet hooks. I've been buying them a la carte off of Amazon, so probably not the most cost-effective way to do it, but again, I don't crochet very much, so I've just been buying them based on when I need a specific hook size or what have you. But they do sell them in sets, so check them out. But I think that is it for what I have been working on knit-wise this week. I guess I will move along into stash enhancements, because while I did get a lot of enhancements in the mail, I did, as I mentioned, Dennis and I had gone up to Cape Cod, I think for the last time this year. I don't know. We may go back up there. We don't know, but if I had to guess, this was our last trip up there for Labor Day weekend. And so of course we had to stop by a great yarn in Chatham, where I purchased, or I didn't purchase, but my in-laws purchased the skein of yarn for me at Finest Hours by Haute Knit. So we went back and they still had a whole bunch left, you know, so if you are in the area, do stop by. But yeah, we went there as a group with Dennis, my in-laws, and we just drove over. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Kathy, who I met. It was so funny, like we were pulling into the parking lot, and then I think Kathy spotted me and she came over. She goes, I'm totally fangirling right now. It's so great to meet you. And Kathy, I just want to say it was really, really lovely meeting you. Thank you so much for saying hello. You fangirl away, whatever. You don't even have to fangirl, but it was just really, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm just so glad you said hello. And I hope you came back, or you left the shop with a very lovely haul as well, which I am about to share with you, my lovely haul from a great yarn. And let me see. Okay, so, oh wait, all right, I'll show that later. But anyway, here's their bag and their logo. Yay! And they were having quite the sale there. So, and Dennis, as I mentioned, Dennis came along with me and he picked out some yarn. I told him, you know, pick out some yarn. I want to make you something for the winter, you know, a hat or mittens or what have you. The guy still needs a sweater, but I'm starting small. I'm not gonna bite off more than I can chew at the moment, but he picked out these two really gorgeous skeins of Swan Island, and it's their sport weight base, and in the colorway Graphite. And I believe these were 30% off. So originally retail price was like $14.50, so 30% off of that. Total bargain. I bought two. You might get a hat or some mittens. We'll see. And then some other new to me yarn that I found, well, I've heard of them, but I've never worked with it before, but they had a sample knit up. Ooh, sorry, I just shifted the camera. Okay, there we go. But they had a sample knit up, and it's just really interesting the way it knits up. But it's Kenzie yarn from New Zealand with love. It's their haiku base. I bought two skeins of it as well. And yeah, it's, let me see, 50% New Zealand merino, 25% nylon, and 10% angora, 10% alpaca, and 5% silk noils. And if you can see the halo on this yarn, yeah, it feels it's soft yet dense at the same time. And the cool thing about this yarn is when you knit it up and then block it, after you block it, it just puffs. It just has, like, if you see a halo now on it, imagine that like ×5 or whatever. It doesn't get totally floofy or anything, but it definitely puffs up a little bit. So it's a really interesting yarn, and I have no idea what I'm gonna knit with it. Probably some mittens. We'll see, but you know, they had different colors. It was really hard to choose, so when in doubt, I go with neutral. So, but yeah, very excited to work with this. And some other yarn, which you might be shocked to hear that I purchased, but I just couldn't resist. I saw a sample of this knit up, and the color was just, yeah. But Ito. So yeah, you've probably seen this stuff floating around some yarn shops, but it's Icho yarn in the Sensei base in the Bordeaux or mauve colorway. It's Bordeaux, but it is 60% mohair, 40% seed, which I think is paper, I'm not sure. And then, oh no, I'm sorry, it's 60% mohair, and then 40% silk. And the halo on this is just crazy. And I got two skeins of it because each skein only has, oh, well, it has a lot of yardage, 262 yards. So I bought two just in case. And again, they were having a sale on this as well. And it was just so pretty. They had a pair of mittens on display with a sample knit up, and I was just, why not? You know, let's work with it. So that was my haul. And yeah, again, if you're in the area, this is the same yarn shop that I talked about. Like, their selection is amazing, but it was the same yarn shop that I talked about where the lady working there was kind of hovering and just pointing at all the, you know, it was just making it a very like unpleasant experience to shop in. But she was not there this time. I don't know if she still works there. I, you know, hope she, you know, everything's okay, but you know, she wasn't there that day. But the shop owner, I think it's run by his wife, and it's a man, it's a husband and a wife. They run the shop together, and he was working behind the counter, and he's just really super polite, very nice. I had a conversation with him and everything. So, you know, it's like, I highly recommend the shop regardless. You know, just pop in there if you're in the area, check it out. They definitely have some they have a really great selection of yarns. But anyway, that was my haul from there. And then also, but wait, there's more. As I mentioned last week, Sharon from the Knit Style podcast, formerly known as the TV Knitting Podcast. Hi, Sharon. She has recently started dyeing yarn, and she showed off some yarn on one of her previous episodes, and my jaw just dropped. She's doing such a great job dyeing yarn, and she showed off one skein that I was just like, it must be mine. I think it's in my bag. Let's see. Where'd you go? Here it is. So she showed off this one skein, and I just couldn't resist. I was on it like wildfire when she updated her shop for the first time. But this is Fallen Fairy, and here's her logo. Oops. It's just really, really beautiful. It's just very light, delicate peach, but like subtle speckles of like moss green and aqua, and it's just really, really pretty. So it's mine. I'm happy. Very, very happy. I'm like itching to cast it on, along with some other yarn that I have that I'm itching to cast on. But I feel like this has to be like either a pair of lace socks or something lacy. I don't know, but it's just really beautiful. And this is on her chic sock base. It's 80% merino, 25% nylon, 2-ply. It's very soft and squishy. But yeah, very, very excited to cast this on soon. I don't know what, but it's going on the needle soon. So awesome job, Sharon. Congrats again on launching your Etsy shop, and yay, all good things. So yeah. And I think that is it for, all right, yeah, all right. I have to behave now. I can't just keep buying yarn, but you know it's coming. So that is it for what I've been stashing, what I've been making, but I think now it's time to move along to sewing. I don't know if you've noticed in the background, Margot is modeling a dress that I've been working on. It's not done yet, but this is my Vivienne Westwood inspired dress. I talked about it in the past 2 episodes, so if you're curious about what that dress looks like, maybe I'll post a photo of it here. But so the pattern that I used to replicate the dress is McCall's. I have it in, and the reason why it's in a Ziploc bag is because this is how I store all of my pattern pieces and keep them all in one place. But yes, it's McCall's M7315, and I did view, I think it's C. It was like the V-neck, yeah, view C, and it's not an exact replica of the dress, but it's very similar. I think I may tweak the shoulder straps a little bit just to like ruche them at the top, you know, just to kind of like give them a little more structure, like a little more like drape effect, if that makes any sense. You know, just coming down to the bust area. But I will say, McCall's and Butterick, like that whole line, McCall's, Butterick, and Vogue, their sizing is pretty spot on with my measurements. Even though they say they have like a little bit more ease, I find that when I use their, you know, if I do a muslin and I just do it according to like the size that I think would fit me best, it's pretty spot on, which is awesome, I think. So I think going forward, I'm just gonna gravitate towards, you know, McCall's, Butterick, Quick Sew, and Vogue patterns, because yeah, they seem to fit me very well. The only alteration to this pattern that I did was, you know, again, which I find I have to do with most patterns, is kind of, what do you call it, true up the lines between the waist size and the bust size. So case in point, I have a 32-inch bust and a 26-inch waist, and sometimes that falls under a different size when it comes to patterns. So like a 32-inch bust might be a size 2 on the pattern, but a 26-inch waist might be a size 4. So normally what I do is I just take a ruler and draw a line from the size 2 line to the size 4 line, just to kind of make sure that when I cut out those pattern pieces and stitch everything together, it'll fit me. So that's pretty much what I did with this pattern. And I actually, the smallest bust, I actually had to draw my own size, you know, because like the 34-inch bust was, this only went down to a 34-inch bust, so I had to just kind of wing it a little bit and, you know, guesstimate, okay, well, if I want to take an inch off, so, and this has 3 seams, so I did the math and just drew like a line, a point in each pattern piece, like I think it was like a 1/4 inch line, and then I just drew my own, you know, pattern line, or, you know, to make sure that it would fit me. I did a muslin and everything and it fit, and thumbs up, it all worked out. So that's where I am with this. Again, well, I mentioned that I'm still working on it. The reason why it's not done is because I realized I did not have a zipper long enough. So that is in the mail, waiting for it to come. I'm actually going to finish it off with, I got a long, I think like 4 yards of velvet ribbon, and I'm going to be wearing this to a wedding. So my plan is to use the velvet ribbon as kind of like a little, you know, tie around the waist. And then I'm definitely going to top it off with some, you know, silk flowers, maybe in my hair, on the side, I don't know. But definitely mauve flowers, we'll see. Anyway, I'm on the prowl for those. I might make my own like hair clips or something like that, but I think it's going to come together very well. But in the meantime, yesterday I was having one of those days where I was just like, you know what, I need to check out, I just want to sew for a little bit, just sew something quick, easy. So I had some leftover fabric from this dress. I think I purchased 4 yards of this, and again, it was $7 per yard, so I definitely made out like a bandit, and I got 4 yards of it. The pattern only required 3 yards, so score there. And I had like a whole, I think a whole yard and a half. I don't know, how did it work out? I don't think it let me see. This is going to be bothering me. So the pattern, believe it or not, because, you know, it looks like it has a lot of fabric to it. Yeah, it only required 2 1/8 yards because this was 60-inch fabric. So I had a whole bunch of fabric left over. So I figured, let's make a skirt, you know, because this is going to be, I kind of went a little Maria von Trapp on myself, but I took the leftover fabric and just kind of, you know, made a basic skirt with it. I had a pattern piece that I drafted from Gertie's, a tutorial that Gertie from Gretchen Hirsch, she has a tutorial online where she shows you how to make your own circle skirt. So I had a waistband pattern cut out for that. And then I used a pattern piece from another, I think it was like a Butterick or another McCall's pattern that I really liked the shape of it. It was actually a dress pattern piece, so I kind of Franken-pieced it with the waistband and that, that skirt pattern piece. So anyway, let me show you what I made. I'm very happy with it, but yay, it's a skirt. And very basic, it's not gathered or anything, it falls flat, and it's just an A-line skirt, and oh, let me see, invisible zipper in the back, so yay. And I love it. I could not be more happy with the way this turned out. I'm definitely going to make a bunch more, and yeah, because I can definitely use some more skirts like this, and I'm happy that I didn't go with like a gathered skirt. I'm finding that I like the simple straight A-line skirts a lot better than gathered skirts, and it's a lot less work. I whipped this up in like 2 hours, so you can probably, it was just a no-brainer, very relaxing. So and yeah, I could definitely make plenty more of them. I definitely want to make a black one and just one out of some fun fabric. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. I definitely want to make or start working on a fall kind of like capsule wardrobe, just kind of making some basic skirts, because I usually only wear like basic tops. You know, if I wear separates, it's usually just basics, like black leggings and a basic top like this one. It's just a basic tank top or whatever. But if I have some other like staple pieces, like a skirt with an interesting texture or pattern, or a dress, for example, you know, just creating a couple, a handful of those garments, you know, just to kind of go in between during the fall and, you know, take me into winter. So, you know, I was thinking about just whoever wants to join along, I might just do a fall sew along. So I'll open a thread in the Ravelry group. So whoever wants to join along and just sew a capsule wardrobe for fall, if that, you know, is that even considered a capsule wardrobe? I guess it is, but if whoever wants to join along with me in knitting and sewing some garments for fall, feel free to do so. Check it out. And yeah, we'll just share our progress there. And now there is drilling outside my window. Oh, the sounds of Brooklyn. I love it. So yeah, that is where I am right now with my sewing. As I mentioned, I am co-hosting a Victorian make-along with Benjamin Crudwig from the Design Time podcast. So I'm going to be making a corset, and the rest of my materials are coming in the mail. So once they get here, I can start diving into that, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, that is pretty much where I am with my sewing. And yes, so that said, I am gonna move along to shop update. So let me go get the yarn that will be in the shop tomorrow, Friday, September 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you can make it, but I do want to just give a big shout out and thank you to everyone who purchased my Halloween mystery skeins. Those are going to be dyed up next week and shipped out, so very excited about that. And yes, the final the third and final installment of the Once Upon a Time Yarn Club has been dyed. It's going out again next week, so yay, very excited about that. And just a heads up, I think next week will be the monthly international shop update, which happens on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a lot of information, I know, but that update will be the last update before I dive into Indie Untangled prep. And Indie Untangled is the trunk show that happens the night before Rhinebeck. So that is happening on October 14th or 16th, I think. I think it's the 16th of October. I will put it in the down bar so you know all the information, but I will be vending there along with many other talented and wonderful independent dyers and fiber artists. So if you are going to be up at Rhinebeck, it's a really awesome way to pre-game before the big festival. So yes, very excited about that. But yeah, I'm probably going to be taking a couple weeks away from updating my own shop to stock up on inventory for the trunk show. So just a heads up, but I haven't, it's still TBD whether or not I'll be having an update between then. We'll play it by ear, but just expect that it might not happen. So yeah, let me go get my yarn. I know I just inundated you guys with like all that information, but let me go get my yarn for this week's shop update. Okay, this is going to look like a lot, but I will say this will be a relatively small update, only because I was trying to tie up a lot of loose ends, get the yarn club dyed and figure out the Halloween mystery skeins. But I will have, you know, several colorways in stock. But mainly I will have a lot of Outlander and I will have a lot of Dirty on Purpose, only because last week I had a lot of requests, like people missed out on it. You know, even though I did dye a lot of it, they went off. They sold like hotcakes. So thank you, first of all, for anyone who purchased yarn from me last week. But this week I focused on Dirty on Purpose and Outlander. So they will be in stock tomorrow in big numbers. And I will have a couple of other skeins that will not be in big numbers tomorrow. So, but yes, let me see, what do I have? I have them all in my lap right now, but okay, so Outlander will be in stock tomorrow. And then I will have Dirty on Purpose on several bases. All these will be dyed on several bases. And then I will have some Enjoy the Silence. Oops, I'm trying not to drop yarn here. Enjoy the Silence. There you go. I'm going to try and dye up some more of this today as well, because this has been a very popular colorway as well. I will have some Succulents. I will have some Pandora, another popular colorway that I'm going to try and dye more of today. And then I will have some Big Bash, one of my Edward Gorey inspired colorways, the Gorey Details Yarn Club. And then I will have some Assaulted by Bears. That will be in the shop tomorrow. Another colorway from the Gorey Details Yarn Club. And then, of course, I will have some Gashly Crumb. Another Edward Gorey inspired colorway. So, yeah. There we go. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to be dyeing up some more today, so I hope you can make it to tomorrow's shop update at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. So, without further ado, I'm going to move along to Blather. So I'm going to move along to Blather, which is a segment where I chat about what's been going on in my life within reason. But yeah, one thing that I wanted to share with you this week, something that came in the mail the last time I recorded, but totally forgot to share it with you guys, but very excited about it, that it's here. I've been using it, and this is something that that Laura from the Dyer's Notebook chatted about on her podcast, and I was like, this is exactly what I need in my life. Granted, I am not a planner person. I have been known to accumulate planners, but writing, you know, like, I use them for maybe like the first week, and then they just kind of like, you know, fizzle out, and I never look at them again. But I consider myself a list person, not a to-do list person, although I do write down like things to do, but I'm more of one of those people that writes down things that I have done, so I have a sense of accomplishment, if that makes any sense. But I definitely want to get more organized with myself and organizing my time and figuring out what I have to do for, you know, like that current day and looking ahead, now that, you know, I am my own boss, and I just want to be on top of things, if that makes sense. So Laura shared a passion planner that she had purchased, which here it is. It came in the mail, same exact one that she got. I didn't realize that I purchased the same design, but it's so awesome. It has, I just really love the, like, these little details on here. You have flowers, you have a light bulb, you have wine, there's a castle, and then there's like a little kitty somewhere. Let me see, but yeah, just all these little really fun little details in here. And the cool thing about this is that it's undated. They come with ones that are dated and ones that are undated, and I chose the one that's undated because I'm notoriously known for flaking on my planners. So I, you know, in case as Laura said, you know, if you fall off the wagon, you can just jump right back on and, you know, put all your, you know, what do you call it, dates and stuff where they should go. But anyway, just to give you an idea, I'm not going to show you what I've logged already, but just to give you an idea, this is how it's set up. So you can put your dates here. Every day has a focus that you can jot down. Every week has a focus. Good thing, this is what I really love. Good things that happened during the week. There's a quote and an inspirational quote to get things done in here, and then just little tips and tricks to getting things done. There's a work to-do list, there's a personal to-do list separated by priority, and there's doodle space. So yeah, it's just such a great idea, I think. So I have been using it, I really like it, and yeah, it definitely allows me to organize my day, my week, and everything perfectly. And you know, this week, good things that happened this week. I learned brioche, so very exciting. Yeah, and it has like a little, what do you call it? You know, like tab, so you can figure out where you are, and then like a nice little elastic, because there are, oh, okay, so every month is, so there is like a calendar section on here, so you can put other events and things that are happening, and then at the end of every month they have just kind of like a check-in, so you can jot down like, what was the most memorable part of this past month? Describe it. What were 3 biggest lessons you've learned in the past month? So just, you know, little personal check-in, you know, to see what you've learned and, you know, yada yada. So I really like that type of stuff. So again, definitely check out Passion Planner. I think, you know, it's a great tool, handy, very handy. And that said, Passion Planner, when I made my purchase, they also included an extra one for one of you guys. I didn't even ask them for this. They just, you know, when I opened the package, I saw 2 in there. I'm like, I emailed them. I said, was there a mistake? Like, no, we just want you to pass, you know, like we randomly just included one for you to pay it forward and, you know, gift it to somebody. So I'm going to use this one. It's a mini version. It's undated, as a giveaway prize for one of you guys. So I haven't decided which knit along or giveaway prize I'm going to use it for, but that's still TBD. But I will let you guys know. But Passion Planner, guys, if you're watching, I don't think you are, but thank you so much. This was really awesome and generous of you. So yay, I'm definitely going to be paying it forward. So other than that, have some work to do. So I'm definitely itching to cast on a pair of socks because I have one pair off the needles. I'm still working on my my Time to Make the Donuts socks by Fiber Nymph, but I've kind of been avoiding it because they're afterthought heels, and yeah, it's silly. I really should just get those done. I'm to the heel point, so that might have to get done first. But anyway, we'll see. I'm just rambling at this point. So, but yes, that said, I'm gonna get to work. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.